Hi, and welcome back to this free-for-all Friday edition of Focal Point AFR Talk. I am Brian Fisher, your congenial, convivial, and amiable, as always, host. This is Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity on conservative talk radio. One of the resources we provide to voters all across the fruited plain is found at afaaction.net, afaaction.net. And if you have a primary coming up where you live, next Tuesday, there are primaries in Virginia. My next guest will talk about that. There are primaries in Maine, North Dakota, Nevada, and South Carolina. Go to afaaction.net. We've evaluated every candidate for every congressional race. You get all the information popped right up. If you want to drill down to see how we came up with our assessment of those candidates, you can do this. afaaction.net. It's a product of our 501c4 organization, AFA Action. Now, one of the hotly contested races right now is in Virginia's 7th District, where Eric Cantor, who's in Republican leadership, is being seriously challenged by David Brat, who is a professor of economics at Randolph-Macon College, coming virtually out of nowhere, and is now got, I think, Eric Cantor in a bit of a panic. Eric Cantor running negative ads really for the first time since he's been in office, spending a lot of money, obviously feels that David Brat is right on his heels. David Brat is with us now on our Decision Maker line. And David Brat, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
Hey, Brian, super to be on. Thanks.
Well, thanks for having me on. And David, let's talk about, I want to go back in time. A lot of our listeners in Virginia are going to be familiar with this story. But what happened when the Republicans in the 7th Congressional District came together to choose a chairman and to listen to Eric Cantor, their representative? What happened at that meeting provided a pretty significant boost to your campaign. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, it was a huge day, and there's been 3 or 4 of these huge things. The first is an issue called slating, where Eric Cantor and his pack, Eric and Young Guns, went around the state and knocked conservatives out of their own political process through a technical thing called slating. So Tea Party and grassroots people were very upset with what he was doing, and they couldn't even vote for their own district chairman. So when it came time for our own 7th district chair vote, everybody said it was a David and Goliath kind of thing, huge mountain, no way you can ever win. And there, Fred Gruber came out of nowhere and knocked off Linwood Cobb, Eric Cantor's right-hand man. Eric got up, started repeating the negative ads he runs on me that are just bold-faced lies on Fox News every night. I hate to say that, but that's what they are. And the crowd did not boo Eric Cantor. The crowd booed those lies, and there's a moral distinction there that matters. And so what a great day. I opened up my talk. The prayer for that opened the convention mentioned Moses coming down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets, and I said one of the rules on there is do not bear false witness, and I try to take that seriously, and Eric Cantor is messing up incredibly.
Now, one of the things that's happened there, you mentioned the negative ads, the attack ads that Eric Cantor has been running, some appearing on Fox News, and it actually might have a bit backfired on him because it might have given you some visibility and some name ID that you didn't have before.
Oh, it's a huge backfire. He started off with these animated cartoon characters of me, and everybody kind of liked them. So now I go into Walmart, I go to the Greek Festival, I go everywhere in the city, whatever. Everybody says, hey, Dave, how you doing? Well, I got your back. I'm voting for you. I can't believe he's doing that to you. And so you're right. It's kind of funny how the moral lesson works, right? He's making stuff up, saying I work for Tim Kaine and I was Kaine's personal economic advisor. It's just all falsehoods. He sent out a flyer last week saying I was going to kick grandmother off the cliff and cut her Social Security, and points to some plan that doesn't even exist. He just made it up out of whole cloth. And so with millions of dollars, they get a little arrogant up there. And so we got a real shot. I think we're running neck and neck right now, and we're surging.
Talking here with David Brat, who is conservative challenger to Eric Cantor for the congressional seat, 7th District in Virginia. Eric Cantor in House leadership, and David Brat mounting a very serious and significant challenge to that. One of the issues that's come up, Dave, in the primary here in Mississippi for the Senate seat, the race between Senator Chris McDaniel, State Senator Chris McDaniel, who's the challenger, and the incumbent Thad Cochran, is that Senator Cochran has adamantly refused to debate Senator McDaniel. He's adamantly refused media requests for interviews, And you've got something similar going on in your race.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's worse than that. Eric Cantor won't and has never had a open town hall with his constituents. He won't answer any questions. And there's a good reason. He votes 100% with the Chamber of Commerce. So they wanted Obamacare to pass, and big business, of course, gets exempted out of that on Amnesty. The Chamber of Commerce and the crony guys up there want cheap labor. Well, everybody in Virginia knows that means lower wages, less jobs, and more competition, more welfare payments. And so that the voters know very well what's going on, and it put Eric Cantor in the hot seat.
Now, one of the things that's happened as your campaign has developed, you've had some big-name conservatives come out and endorse you. Mark Levin has had you on his program, virtually endorsed you, and Coulter has endorsed you. Laura Ingraham has endorsed you. She has campaigned for you. How much of a difference do you think it's made to have some of these high-profile Republicans saying, look, we think this is a horse that's worth getting behind?
Well, it's been miraculous. I absolutely had to have that happen because Eric spent $2 million calling me a liberal professor. And so some people that don't know me think their majority leader would never lie to them, right? I mean, that would be a nice assumption to make in America, that the majority leader of the United States Congress won't lie. Well, bold-faced lies left and right. I never worked for Tim Kaine. I was not his economic advisor, and on and on and on. And he's had 10 other flyers. He said he was leading up the charge for Benghazi. He says he's fighting to help the Tea Party. He's fighting to put the Tea Party out of business. And so those folks now at the national level have put my stuff up on their web pages and embarrassed my local press, who won't report on any of this. And so now our local press finally has to report on some of this. And now the people are finding out and saying, hey, Dave's got Tea Party backing. Dave's got Mark Levin, Ann Coulter, Laura Ingraham on his side, Doc Thompson, Glenn Beck have him on the show. You got to be kidding. This guy's for real. He's a true conservative, and Eric's lying to us. And so what a difference. And thanks to them. They're true patriots for sticking up for the small guy.
Now, one of the issues that has been a central part of this campaign is Eric Cantor's position, shifting positions, I might add, on the subject of amnesty. I have a column I wrote today that's up on our website basically arguing that we've got this humanitarian catastrophe right now with all of these children, unaccompanied minors, coming across our southern border in mass, a tsunami, maybe 120,000 new children coming across unaccompanied, no parents to look after them, take care of them, provide for them, give them shelter, food and clothing, being swept across our borders, now being distributed to places like El Paso and Tucson and Phoenix and housed in warehouses and empty facilities at naval bases. And all. It's a humanitarian catastrophe. Our government has no idea what to do with these. And I argued in my column, I want you to comment on this, Dave, that those that support the DREAM Act are responsible for this because they've dangled this carrot in front of parents in Central America and Mexico. And so these parents are enticed by that. If I can just get my kid across the border before he turns 16, he can stay there forever. So they're exposing their children to this unconscionable level of risk. And I would argue those that have been behind the DREAM Act have some culpability for this because it's that DREAM Act, the news about that's filtered down to Central America and enticing these parents to take these incredible risks with their own children. And Eric Cantor's a part of that.
No, you're spot on in your reporting. That's exactly right. And I saw a story related to that on top of the Drudge report yesterday, and they had pictures of these kids, and some of the kids said straight up, we were told that we could come and stay, right? So they receive word of our policy. They don't have a perfect understanding of it, but as soon as you say Child Act, DREAM Act, Kids Act, Cantor's also the architect of the Republican principles. He said he agrees with the Senate principles. He's been touring the nation with Congressman Gutierrez, and he's for the Enlist Act, which takes illegals into the armed services while they're illegal as a pathway to citizenship. And so, I mean, you can't make it up. And so why would somebody do that? And there's only one answer, and it's just follow the money, always, right? The chamber, very big check writers, very powerful people. Eric Cantor gets 80% of his money from New York and California. And so he's turning his back on our own constituency here in the 7th, who is 99% opposed to amnesty because they know it'll lower their wages and they'll lose jobs.
You know, it's a
so he's selling out his own district and putting forward that policy that does not have a compassionate outcome. There's, like you said, 100,000 kids coming across the border without their parents now, and they're facing extreme danger. And you feel for the kids.
Yeah, what is remotely compassionate? I asked that question. What is remotely compassionate about supporting a policy that creates hundreds of thousands of abandoned children? What is remotely compassionate about a policy like this?
It's backwards, right? I teach third world economic development, and if you were truly compassionate, you would believe in free markets and the rule of law. That's why they're coming here. So if we were compassionate, we would help Mexico and those countries set up a strong rule of law and private property rights so they can prosper, and then we all get rich together.
Yeah, we
clearly cannot house the whole world.
Yeah, we don't want to turn Guatemala. We don't want to turn the United States into Guatemala. We want to turn Guatemala into the United States by helping them recover some of those principles. And it seems, talking here with Dave Brat, Eric Cantor's challenger in Virginia's 7th District, seems to me that Eric Cantor, one admission that he knows he's got problems here is he's removed all mention of immigration, or maybe never put it up there, of immigration and amnesty on his campaign website. You wouldn't know anything about it if you went to his own website.
Yeah, he's scrubbing everything having to do that. He's in the last 2 weeks, he's shifted on that. He's shifted on IRS targeting of Tea Party people. I mean, the Tea Party is just laughing. I mean, they're falling off their chairs laughing that Eric would have the nerve to say that now. Everybody knows about the slating. He's trying to get the Tea Party out of the Republican Party altogether because of their strong adherence to the Constitution.
Dave,
it's just laughable.
I've got about 30, 45 seconds left max here, so I need very brief answers to this. Hope you can give them to me. Where do you stand on the issue of sanctity of human life?
Yep, 100% pro-life, sanctity of life across the board.
How do you stand on the sanctity of marriage? Is that something you think the GOP should continue to stand for and fight to protect, natural marriage?
Yeah, Well, yes, yeah. I mean, we stayed in there in our Republican creed. We believe in God, the faith of the founders, and strong moral fiber, and marriage, traditional marriage is absolutely part of that.
One last question. Would you vote against any increase in the debt ceiling, even if President Obama shut down the government as a result?
Yeah, and that would be tied, in my case, to a promise on the spending side up front, right? I'd first make the promise on the spending side and say, if you violate that, I will not vote for the debt ceiling increase, period. So, yes.
My guest has been Dave Brat, mounting a serious challenge to Eric Cantor in Virginia's 7th District. Dave, thanks for taking time to talk with us, and God's best to you and your family.
I appreciate it. Can I just mention my website, DaveBratForCongress.com?
Did he get it?